Good evening, everyone. I'll call the May Park Board meeting to order. Within the packet was our minutes from last meeting. If anyone saw any changes, corrections, or omissions, would they please bring them up? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Need a motion first, Pat.
Yeah, to approve.
Moved.
Second.
Second.
Who moved? Mike?
Don moved.
No, somebody doesn't hear a second.
Pam.
Sorry.
I moved.
All those
Too
in
many
favor
people here.
signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay.
You want to do our roll call for everyone since we have our full board?
We can. We'll do roll call. Don Buchholz.
Here.
Tori Boomsa.
Here.
Boomsma. Mike Kennedy.
Here.
Pat Casanova.
Here.
Pam Brokaw.
Here.
Karen Stankovich.
Here.
And Karen Nessett. Here. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. It's the first time we've had a
Full house.
full house in a long time, yes. New business, we've got the splash pad, Michael, up on
Yeah,
the park.
yeah, so this is obviously very exciting. So during the COVID era, which is already 4 years ago, believe it or not, city received American Rescue Plan Act funds. The Common Council basically designated $400,000 to be put towards a splash pad. It has come, we've kind of discussed it previously at previous meetings. The COVID era fund, so basically we need to have something signed in 2024 saying that this is what we're going to be using this money for, so on and so forth. So to kind of get the ball rolling on this project, I reached out to Minnesota Wisconsin Playground, or Minnesota Wisconsin Rec, I believe is what. They're the same company that we just purchased the Bella Rose playground system from. They also specialize in splash pad design, so on and so forth. So got in touch with them. Had an initial kind of kickoff meeting, kind of talking about, what our budget was, kind of some of the features that we're looking at. And with that framework, they put together a couple of different designs for us to review. The biggest thing was that I was looking at is the amount of water that this was going to use. So if you look at your packet, each design, there's kind of different flow rates. The one that's oval shaped is, the one that's round shaped is 134 gallons per minute. I'm assuming that's with all the features going. The oval one is, let me find it, 89 gallons per minute. So quite a bit of difference there, and fairly similar in size. Obviously, features depending upon, you can get features that have more water, some that have less. I tried to pick out ones that use less water just for water conservation. And so I guess what we're doing tonight is obviously getting a chance to kind of review the options that were presented to us. If there's anything else that you would like to see, included in the packet are the budgets, are what the prices for these things. And surprisingly, it's expensive to put these splash pads in. It's amazing kind of it kind of gives you the idea of what you get for the money. So the option one, the round one, was quoted at $360,000, a little bit of change. And then the oval one was quoted at, let me find it, unless someone finds it before me, $352,000. So similar in price, similar price points. Now this does include all the water fixtures, all of the controller cabinets, controls, site excavation, the concrete as well. And so, like I said, tonight we're just kind of looking for some initial feedback from the board. Some things that you like, some things that you don't like. John Gilbertson is here representing the company that helped put this together. So if you have any questions for him, obviously he's here to answer any questions that you might have, and I'm actually going to invite him up to the stand now. And basically what I want from you, John, is to kind of just go through the process from, kind of the design to the contracts to installation, kind of lay that out for us if you would, please. So, yeah, if you could come up to the mic, that'd be great.
Thank you for having me. I guess to start out, from the process we've already kind of begun, is the preliminary design. We had some representatives from our manufacturer, which is Water Odyssey. They're based out of Texas, and they do all of our manufacturing. They're a sister company to ours, so that we are the local representative for them. We came up with a preliminary design within a price range that was set out. Nothing is set in concrete at this point. There can be any kind of changes that you see fit made to it, and we can adjust the design anyway. There is, I don't know if it was spelled out in the quotes, but there is an option if you're worried about the consumption of water, that the excess water afterwards, because this will be just a flow-through system, so the water is not getting treated chemically. It'll just be out of the public water. It can be collected in a tank underground, used for irrigation after the fact, so that you're not just a one-time use of the water. It can actually, have a little extra benefit to the city in that area. Also, if you have any questions on how the process works, feel free to contact me. I'd be more than happy to meet with any committees or anything in the process just to answer questions about how they work. The way we have these set up is it's not a constant on. This isn't like you turn it on and it runs constantly. There are actual activation bollards that the kids would hit. They would run through a cycle of different sprays throughout a 2-minute or whatever increment you decide. They would then shut off. To reactivate, they would have to hit the bollard. So you're not wasting extra water with people not using the feature.
Is that touch and go?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And how do you prevent stagnation for long periods?
As far as the fresh water,
Yep.
it's all fresh coming out of the water system. So there's nothing recycled.
But what I'm saying is just sitting, let's say if it's sitting for hours, don't have to worry about becoming stagnant.
No.
All right.
No, it's similar to an irrigation system. For off-season, the lines would be drained and it would be blown out like you would an irrigation system to just clear the lines.
Do you have any idea average cost for, say, underground tanks for reuse?
I don't know if it's shown as
No.
a specific line item. I can get that information for that part of it, but I do believe it's included in the designs that we had.
If I can jump on that, throw it to Mike. What's your initial feeling on sinking a tank, and then once we collect all that,
Yep.
I mean, do we have to buy a truck that can bring that somewhere? I mean, is it worth it? Are you thinking, or that, we talked about that retention pond area that's dry right now?
Yep. So
What
there
are your
is,
thoughts on that?
there is irrigation system in White Camp Park that we currently don't utilize,
Okay,
where we could tie this into it. What we would have to kind of talk through, I think it's a great idea. I like the idea of being able to reuse the water instead of just wasting it, right? The thing that we'd have to talk through is, so typically an irrigation system, it's timed. It comes on every morning from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, right? Well, let's just say we have 3 straight rain events, or 3 straight rain days, and nobody's using the park. Well, then that basically holding tank is empty. And there must be sensors or something that trips it to come on and off when it's full or something like that during a
Yep.
certain period. So
Yeah, and it can be bypassed if
Yeah.
there's no water in it. But it does have a low and high sensor on it.
Okay.
So if you get a lot of rain, any excess will go through the storm sewer just like normal. But if it is run down to the bottom, it won't allow the pumps to come on and draw from that.
the other thing that's nice about these systems is we can set the times when this park is even available to use. So let's just say, we don't want people out there, or we want them there from like noon until 7. That's when they can actually go, and when they touch the button, the water will come on. Anything outside of those times, when they touch the button, the water won't come on. So we can help conserve water like that as well, depending, putting the schedules together, when we put the schedules together.
And it can be adjusted if you have other events that you don't want the splash pad available. If you have other things going on in the park, you can set it to not work that day, just very simply.
And is it just like a regular concrete pad, like a, kind of like a non-skid
Yep.
concrete?
Yep.
There
those
is,
manual-
are there?
Are those manual controls that are inside a pump house, or is it Bluetooth where it can be operated from a smart device?
It's, there is a pump house. I do not believe they have Bluetooth compatibility yet. It's something that we could get in the future and probably be added. But, yeah, it'll have either a buried vault, a fiberglass vault, where all the mechanicals will be contained. That is not a confined space. It lift open the lid so people can access and use it. Or it'll be housed within a, like a concession bathroom building on site.
I think we talked about like a signal cabinet, having the,
Yep.
everything kind of above ground so that the vault that's underground doesn't get full of water.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have any in this local area that you've done that's similar to what you're proposing here that,
We do.
Check out?
I can get a list of a lot more because I know the company has been throughout Wisconsin and Minnesota, but the one local one that we just did was Mounds View.
okay?
at
Did you do
right by the
Menominee?
city. I do not believe so. Yep.
Yeah, if you could send that, that'd be interesting, because
Yeah.
a lot of us probably out and about, it might be interesting to see how they,
Sure, and we can send electronic, like a box folder, so that even if there's stuff that's not local, we have pictures and you can
That'd be great.
see
That'd be great.
some of the projects they've worked on.
What's the capacity, or how many individuals can be in both of these configurations at one time? You know?
I don't know the full capacity on there, if it's listed.
like square footage.
Square foot.
There is
What's the diameter?
they all just run off of a set, like 1 per 4 square feet or 5 square feet per state code, and it varies. So I'm not sure what
Same
the
size.
capacity for this one is. But, I mean, nobody's gonna be around counting heads to notice, but just for the number of sprays that are there, to be comfortable, you know, I would have to defer to what the spec says for the state of Wisconsin. I'm not,
What's the diameter? I see the square footage, but what's the actual like footprint of it?
So the oval is 57 feet wide by kind of 40 feet vertical.
and that includes an extra 5 feet in spray
The
zone.
spray zone, and that's required, correct?
Yep,
Okay. And then looks like the circle is 48 feet in diameter. So the circle's a
A little bit bigger.
little bit bigger, just by a hair.
The circle's bigger?
The circle, you said it was 48 and the other one is 57.
Yeah,
Yeah, the circle is 1,800 square feet and the oval is 1,788. So it's just,
real close, yeah.
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 It's just
And is it the same height on the circle?
And the oval uses,
Same.
the oval uses a lot less water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were those figures again?
What do you mean by the vertical?
Go ahead, Tori. You got the figures right for the gallons per minute. usage.
No, oh wait. Oh, 134 gallons per minute for the circle,
Yep.
and the oval is 89 gallons per minute. Yeah.
Quite a difference.
And they primarily do about the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's,
they have
The
just-
the features on the oval, I'm sure they're probably less water use features. Which is where we're getting the lesser gallons per minute. And that was a directive from me to the designer saying, let's use this. You know, I was going through a catalog, picking out features that had, 3 gallons per minute, 10 gallons per minute. There were features in there that you could run 120 gallons per minute for one feature,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
So obviously, I tried to stay on the low side.
And all of these features are can be equipped with low flow nozzles on them as well, so that you really can reduce the amount of water that you use.
So, as you're going around and doing these in communities, is this an average size? Is this small? Is this large? I mean, what's a kind of an average budget? Are we kind of on the low end? Are we right in the sweet spot?
I think you're right in the sweet spot. I was just in Madison last week, speaking with an architecture firm in a community down there, and they're looking at the same exact size,
Okay,
budget-wise.
yeah.
No,
Because you
for
can go
that.
I mean, I've been
Yeah,
to
you
ones
can
with
go.
the family where they're huge, and then it's like, well, how much did that, probably a
Yeah.
couple million you're sticking into something like that. Okay.
Do we have an estimate on the capacity or the number of individuals that could be on either one of the designs? Or is that?
I can check and let you know. I don't have that information right now.
Okay.
How long does it take to put this together? What are we looking at time-wise?
What's that?
What are we looking at time-wise? How long does it take to put this
From-
together? From start to
From
finish?
signed contract through is, we're about 8 weeks for, 8 to 10 weeks for delivery of materials. So they all get manufactured and would get sent up here. From that point, depending on the schedules for installation, I would say probably a month to get it installed. Once the order gets placed, you'll be put into a queue for installation.
Okay.
So you're not waiting, months upon months to get in the mix. We do have a local contractor that is doing the installation. They work for us, so we control the whole thing, basically from start to finish. And it is turnkey. They will have representatives come up, start everything up for you, make sure things are working well and you guys are comfortable with the operation of it. And from that point on, we're the contact local. Our office is in Golden Valley, so it's real easy for us to come over and give assistance when needed.
Like, how long does it take to get, like, once we decide, how long does it take? It doesn't sound like it'll be this year, right?
My gut feeling is we would get through the design approval, both at park board and then council, sometime by the end of June, hopefully, July. Get the contract signed. I would like to maybe do the earthwork this fall and then have them come in next spring and basically.
So that it's ready.
start up,
Right,
yeah.
when the.
And
yeah,
install it.
that makes
That's
sense.
my, I mean, if we can push it faster than that, I don't know if it's worth to rush everything through. It's October, they're finishing it. Do we
And
do a
we're supposed
startup?
to-
Do we not do a start? You're
Yeah,
not gonna use
that-
it anyway, so you might as well
Right.
Yeah,
do it, right? I mean,
I agree with you.
Yep, that's a good timeline.
And then do you warranty the electronics or
All of it, yep.
how many,
I think it's
10-year, isn't it?
5 on the
I made that up.
materials and I think it's the same for the electronics too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it warranted from date of installation or startup?
startup.
Okay.
So just for visual,
Mm-hmm.
but would you say about 50 feet would be about from that wall to about where Pam's sitting?
Yeah,
This thing.
pretty close.
So that would give you a size, I mean, that, for visual, it kind of gives you how big it is. It's pretty good size.
It's a good size, yeah.
And these, they're completely open. There's no curbing or anything, so people are able to walk through and get, they're not going to be standing in one spot necessarily or hanging out in one spot. They'll be moving throughout, differently than you would have in a pool where people would congregate and just kind of hang out in a spot. Since the fountains are moving around, there's going to be a lot more movement of people that way.
There's one very similar to this at Christmas Mountain Village inside at the Dells. Very similar.
But, yeah, honestly, they are getting way more popular now that COVID has happened for a couple of different reasons. First of all, everyone's trying to do more with less. You have less people, less funds, all that going on. So the operating costs by not chlorinating and having to treat and have someone available to test the water is a big benefit to not have to do that. Plus, you don't have to have lifeguards stationed to operate it. So it's a less invasive to budgets that way on a yearly basis, but you're still getting the same effects of cooling off, having fun, people, having the benefit of being able to do this without spending money and without having to worry about, is my kid going to be safe? All that stuff. They're, adults and kids are going to be in this together.
Okay, I just have one question that you can't answer. But parking, in that parking lot, is there gonna be ample parking for this new event?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think so.
okay.
I think so too.
The only thing where I could see it being very cumbersome is, let's just say there is something going on at the shelter, a large
Right.
reunion or
Yeah.
where, yes, that would be the only time where I could think where parking would be an issue. So, and people would park out on O'Neill Road. They would park on the entrance road going into the park on the side.
So they can park on O'Neill? People can, okay.
People can't park on
One
O'Neill.
side, I believe it's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the only drawback is, like I said, if there's conflicting things going on, I could see that becoming an issue.
Right, but
And
that's-
that's typically the weekends,
Right.
right?
And that too is if you do have a big event going on and you don't want the crowds or you don't want the mess of it going, you just don't have it available that day.
Right.
How about expandability in the future?
Easily expandable. I think there's no issues with the size of the water
Yep.
feed that's coming to the area. So, yeah, the manifolds will all be set so that you can add to it at any time.
Okay.
So we have the $400,000 budget from ARPA. And these are coming in at 350, 360, whatever we decide. They're doing the cement. City has some cost to this. I mean, I'm assuming bringing water or I guess that's my question. What are our costs?
Right.
And then since it is ARPA,
Yep.
I mean, we wanna, if there's more money left, I know that these pictures have a neat little, some picnic tables, et cetera.
Yeah.
Can we bring that up to 400?
Yeah, I think, so first question, the water, running the water, is that included in the price that you gave, or is that something that's?
No, we would have to have the water stubbed in
Okay,
to wherever the
okay,
controllers would be.
okay.
So water and electrical would be the only two things that would
Okay,
need to be
okay.
there. And the electric is not like a high draw. It's just a 110
Okay.
electric. There's no pumps that are included with this. It runs off of water pressure.
It does, okay.
So you're not forcing the water through anything. It's basically just to operate solenoids and controllers.
Okay.
Okay.
We should have water in that water tower that's,
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of pressure
Pretty good
there.
pressure there too, yeah.
And everything can be throttled back with valving.
okay.
So you're probably
you
looking
know,
at
they will
additional
regulate that.
$5,000
Okay.
for that.
How much?
Probably 5 to 10,000 to run the water and the electrical there.
So that leaves us another 30.
And then if you wanna do the in-ground tank for the irrigation, if the board likes that idea, I could have John re-quote that and rebid it.
Yeah,
Yes, that makes sense.
yeah, I think the board.
Okay,
And
so
I think we did include some benches and things in the original quote as well.
let me see. Oh, a shade structure. There's
Yep.
a shade structure.
So that would
there.
be just a sail shade,
Yeah.
so a big umbrella
Is that
shade.
over the- Is that over the?
No, it was included in the quotes.
Yeah.
But to your point, Mike, I think what we would do is we'll get the hard infrastructure in, we'll get all, what it takes to get the thing operating right. And then whatever money we have remaining, we would outfit the site with, benches,
Yeah.
tables, that type of thing.
Okay.
That's
Perfect.
my thought.
And to be clear, I'm not in for running up anything, but it is, if we don't use it, we lose it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's nice to be able to have a little bit of breathing room, depending on what this tank is gonna process. But to finish it nicely, so,
Yeah.
yeah, good.
And it sounds like the board is leaning more towards the oval shape with the lower water consumption?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So John, I think if you could give us an updated quote
Yep.
that includes the holding tank for irrigation.
All right?
And as far as colors are concerned, I just told him to match the current playground system, don't go, so
Yeah.
it's.
And you guys will be able to select the colors.
Okay,
of
so that's
anything,
down the
so-
road, okay.
Yep.
And is this,
And then I can get the capacity for you as well.
thank you.
Yep.
is it completely open then, like a playground equipment, or is there any kind of a border or anything that goes around it, or would it be completely open?
It would be completely open, yeah. There's really no plan to fence it off by any means or anything like that right now. Because there's no standing water on the pad, right? So there's really no
There's no safety issues.
safety
Right.
issues for drowning or anything like that. Everything is
Nope.
sloped to a drain and
Yep,
So-
any water that would be held is underground.
yeah.
So,
I mean, I know other communities are, places that you go fence them off to charge people to come in and use it, right? I've seen that, but I've seen it in other municipalities where, like you said, it's just basically open and, people come and go as they please. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time, if they do have it fenced in and are charging, it's next to a public pool or some other facility that the city is running.
Sure.
What is the texture on that surface so that it's not slippery?
It'll be a broomed finish on the concrete, yeah.
All right.
Is there another option for more of a rubberized
We do, yep.
surface?
I was wondering that too.
Yep, there is, kind of like the poured-in-place rubber that's in the playground.
Yeah.
It's a thinner version. It's got a different compound that they use in it to, it's not, it won't allow the water to flow through it like it does for the playgrounds.
Okay.
It's a sealer basically
Yeah.
to it. It's not a cushion, but it does have, because it's granulized rubber, it does have a little cushion to it.
It's probably more expensive than concrete, I would assume.
Yeah, you would still need the concrete underneath it.
Okay.
So it's something could always be added should it be discovered to be
Up 20
slippery.
years.
20 years life
Yep.
expectancy.
What's that?
It's something that could be added later?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
It can be painted as well. You can, use colored concrete or paint the surface if you want to. I mean, that's an option as well, just like you would paint the pools, walls with the marine paint.
The contractor we had up over the overview there, he colors concrete and all that. And that works well, 'cause it goes all the way through.
Sure.
And I would suggest that would be the way to start.
Okay.
And that's an option too. If you have a relationship with a local contractor and you can get a better price for concrete, you think through them, I'm more than happy to let you do that to save money on and put that money towards something else in the futures. So we can kind of divide it out if that's something that's of interest to you anyways. We would still do all the specs, everything for it. We would just allow you guys to put the concrete in yourself.
But how would that affect warranty?
You wouldn't. So, the warranty for the concrete would be through whoever you had do it. Everything else would be covered under us.
Okay. Whereas if we do it all through you, it's all one
Yeah.
package,
Yep,
which is significantly important.
yeah.
What are the benefits if you do have the rubberized over the concrete? Is it just like if people fall, like,
Yeah,
is it just safety more than anything? And does it give a lot
it,
of
it's
benefit?
it's a nice showpiece. You
So
can
it's
do
more of a-
colors, yeah, you can do colors and designs, that kind of thing with
It's
it.
more of a aesthetic versus giving
Right.
you any benefit. Like,
Yeah, I don't see that there's gonna be a lot of issues with slippage, but it would be a little softer. But I don't know that it's that much more of a benefit. If it's a look that you're going for, that's a whole other deal.
I don't, yeah, it's more of for me, it would be more of a safety than a look.
Yeah.
And I would imagine it's just more upkeep if we had something like that.
It would be harder to upkeep, and if you do clear off areas in the winter, you would have to be very careful not to go over that,
Sure.
because you would peel it up just like you would a rubberized surface.
Okay.
So is there maintenance or cleaning that needs to happen on a scheduled basis with it, or how is maintenance done on?
Yeah.
Start up and shut down would be the most of the maintenance. that
Yeah,
would
I
be-
think what we would probably do is we would probably pressure wash the surface, at the beginning of the season, maybe halfway through the season, at the end of the season when we're winterizing it. But yeah, other than that, it seems fairly simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apart from, I don't know what the water quality, if you have hard water or anything like that, there could be some calcium buildup that happens on the structures if it's above ground. That can all just get wiped off with CLR
Yeah.
or something similar. They clean up really, really good.
I'm sure we probably have to seal the concrete, you know, per the spec as well. So once every 3 years, you throw a sealer on it or something.
Yeah.
Now, Hudson has a high calcium content in the water.
In the water, yeah.
And do you have a filtration system for that?
No. You could add a special
Sorry.
treatment system ahead of, but that's not included in that.
It's probably not really needed. It's just probably a cleanup, more of a cleanup thing.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
end of the season.
I don't think that you would be running long enough during the season to cause buildup on anything.
Sure.
And at the end of the year, all those nozzles come out anyways, and you have plates that can go over them. So there really isn't a need to have a shutdown service done to it.
Good. Any other questions anyone has at this time? I think you're clear on
Yeah.
what the
Yeah,
board
got some-
thinks.
Yep, got some direction, so I think what we'll do is, we'll make the amendments, we'll kind of hammer out a firm price.
Sure.
And then we'll bring it back to Park Board in June for final review and approval. If that sounds good to everyone. Okay, cool.
And Mike has all my contact information. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out through email or over the phone. Be more than happy to answer questions for you.
Cool. All right, thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. The next item in our agenda, item B, is the donation from the Lions Club.
Yeah, so Lions Club reached out to us, Hudson Lions Club, and they want to donate a lion fountain. So previously, we had a lion fountain up in Grandview Park that outlived its life, and they'd like to replace it. And they kind of caught wind that we are looking at doing the splash pad down in White Camp Park, and they're like, could we somehow incorporate it down there? And so brought it forward to the board for you to review and give your opinions on it. I think it'd be a neat addition down there. So basically, what you're doing tonight is just approving the receivable of the donation of the Lions fountain.
So moved, because I've seen it up in Amory. It's really neat.
I love those lion fountains.
That is very nice.
I love them.
Do,
We need a motion?
I'll move.
Don, did-
Don moved,
I'll
second.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
do we,
Michael?
does the city have, again, now I'll bring water to it, maybe a cement pad?
Yep,
That would be a park expense?
that would be a park expense.
Okay.
Yep.
How much is that park expense then?
Well, the thought is to try to incorporate it with the work that's gonna happen with the splash pad, so, wherever we position, wherever we run the water line to for the manifold, we would just kind of tee off of it, so try to kill two birds with one stone,
Yep.
so it's not an
makes sense.
additional expense, so I don't foresee it being costly at all
Okay.
to do that
Okay.
work, yeah. Probably under a couple $1,000s.
Good.
I mean, who doesn't love a lion fountain? Sticking
Right.
your head in the mouth of a lion.
Yeah, right?
The kids like it.
Any further questions?
And, sorry, and would that come out of our $400,000 budget? Cause it's,
No, they would donate all of the actual like fountain itself, so the big fountain.
The
bless
labor.
you, but are
just-
the city's responsibility, could that be,
We
since we're gonna tie it all together?
could- I would like to try to get it out of just general operating.
Okay,
And again, when it happens, it might be next year, right?
Right.
When we do it, so maybe we can budget for it if that's the case, because we're gonna have to budget for the water usage as well.
Yep.
Because obviously there's gonna be uptick in water charge there, so, obviously we'll have to kind of talk about that during the fall budget
Okay.
times, but. no.
So when we site plan this thing for that oval, the lion bubbler and all that, we have a little extra funding for maybe some picnic tables around and just, cluster it nicely.
Yeah, that's the thought, yep.
All right.
Any further questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I think that's really gonna be nice. Old business.
All right,
Go right ahead on the Lakefront
Lakefront
Wharf.
Park rules. All right, so I know Pat, Don, and Mike were able to get together and meet and kind of walk down in Lakefront Park and kind of develop some rules that kind of came to their minds as they were walking through on the new wharf. So Mike, I don't want to put you on the spot. But you kind of want to just summarize what you discussed and
Sure.
maybe just go through the rules that you came up with and what your vision is down there.
Yeah. No, yeah, we took some time to try to strike a balance between what rules, try to channel behavior down there. But again, a list of 27 rules is, nobody's gonna read it. Did a little research on some local, this is a pretty unique dock, but Prescott has something similar with people using that. So went and saw what they had. It's a little free for all down there, but borrowed the 4-hour maximum parking. It's sort of like our street parking. It's really not meant to be mean or whatever. It's to give everyone a chance to use that space because it's everyone's space. The no parking between 2 and 6 again is just to kind of say no overnight parking. And this is what we'll talk about. That we'll come around to fine tuning it down. But no parking on fishing platforms. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to walk down there and see it, walk on it. There's two.
Yeah.
There's two. It's a 680-foot dock with two octagonal. I don't know if that's right. Areas with a railing, so you could probably get about 10 fishermen lined up there casting and using that. And that's one on the north side, one on the south side. So we're wanting to limit boat parking on that. It seems obvious that someone wouldn't, but these docks are on a beautiful Sunday and some people want to go into town or 4th of July, every square inch is going to be wanted. So on that, we'll probably mark that specifically no parking from the water. Again, we don't want to put up a bunch of signs, so we're making a lot of noise with
Sign
all
pollution,
that.
yeah.
So the no parking will be at river level. You won't even see it if you're on the dock. No swimming from dock. I think that sounds obvious, but again, it's a nice summer day. It would be fun to jump off that thing. But between fish hooks and boats, we think we better spell that out. No swimming. Fishing, again, some of these words can be tweaked if it doesn't read correctly, but fishing must yield to approaching boat. There's going to be overlap. Someone's going to, the wind's going to be blowing to the south, so your bobber's going to go way down there. So that's sort of a courteous statement. Again, it's not going to be, not going to be a fishing line patrolman down there. But just state it so someone reads it and says, you know what, that makes sense. And then kind of that, I guess I'll call it legalese, that the city's not responsible for people that leaves their boats there. If something gets stolen, it's not ours, and then use it at your own risk is kind of one of those kind of coveralls. I don't know if an attorney has to give a stamp to that, but at least it's posted that you're doing this on your own type thing. So that's kind of what we came up. There were some other things we talked about. Alcohol usage, no chairs on the walkway. Again, kind of trying to see how it develops this year.
Yeah.
And if we see glaring issues, then maybe address them with more signage or a different way. But I think that's a digestible amount of things. It kind of covers our exposure as far as the city goes, and not seem like we're, barking at everyone. So that's kind of what we came up with.
Who, just out of curiosity, this 4-hour max parking limit, how are we going to monitor that?
On your honor. So we currently have verbiage down there where it says 4-hour limit tying up to seawall. So it's kind of carrying that forward, right?
Okay.
It has been in the past kind of an on your honor system. I do know there has been times where a boat has stayed there for multiple days. That's when we get law enforcement involved and there's, something in the code that they can enforce, right, and get those boats to move. Right now, there is no intention to have, whether it's a parking attendant or anybody, monitor how long boats are staying down there.
Okay. And is that gonna go the same with the overnight parking, where it's kind of, please don't do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's kind of a double-edged sword too, in that if you've had somebody who's been there, they've been up at one of the bars at
Right.
dinner, they've had too much to
You really
drink.
don't want them
They
to leave.
decide, I'm not gonna drive my boat, I'll take Uber home. Well, we want to encourage that
Right.
and not penalize
Right.
that kind of behavior. So I think it gives us flexibility that way.
Yeah, it's flexible, but yet it's enforceable if it needs to be,
Okay.
if it's being abused.
And
And if
then
we're
next
getting,
year-
yeah, and
go
if we're
ahead.
getting multiple instances where boats are just lined up there for the whole weekend, then okay, then, all right, we better station someone down there. So like Mike said, this is gonna be kind of a learning experience to see what the boating behavior is, what the uses are. We'll need to make adjustments, I'm sure of it, so, but at least this is a good start.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be people camped out down there for 4th of July.
Oh, for
Wanting
sure.
to watch the fireworks from on there, but don't have their boat there. Or vice versa, people pull up with their boat early and are just gonna stay there all day. So some of that, we'll just have to see how it gets used, if there's conflicts in areas that we can do anything about, or other is, it's just human behavior and we can't do anything about it.
Yep.
The other thing that we don't have down there, and we may need to look at it in the future, is trash receptacles that, you know, placed around, because people are gonna have that. And then the other, you know, that we're gonna have with it is do we need a light down there at all? You know, those things we can look at and see how it's being used, and if it turns out to be a problem, then we can design something next year to implement to take care of those kinds of issues. But, you know, right now, we don't think that we're gonna need that, but we'll see how it goes.
Mike, is it possible to kind of look at what lighting costs might be, just generally?
I can look at it,
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
And camera, we have one
I don't know.
near there.
It's at the corner of Walnut and Second. We talked about,
That may be,
talked to Chief Williams about possibly trying to add one specifically for kind of boat launch warfare
Oh, okay.
area.
We've gotta
further to
decide
the
how to
south.
do
Yeah,
So apparently there might be some ARPA funds remaining in his,
Okay.
camera
That'd be
budget,
good.
so.
the engineer who did the gangway should be spanked. It's underwater,
That's what I heard.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have taken much to look at what the flood footage is and keep it above that, but they missed it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I actually sent them an email today, kind of, basically what Pat said, kind of scolding them, and then seeing if there's any easy solutions to at least match what the boat ramp closes at, which is 684. I know they were tough challenge. When they did the initial design, it was tough for them to get it ADA compliant with the existing grades, and I think that's where they settled at. So basically, at 680, that's when the concrete gangways are overtaken by water. So,
That wipes out ADA right there, so
so then,
who cares?
yeah. But during normal pool, it's ADA compliant. I mean, that's what they were shooting for.
Yeah. What looks nice, it functions really well, people are really using it. You know, it's doing everything we've hoped it would do. You know?
Would those posts, you know, we we're talking about future lighting.
Yeah.
The posts that it rides on,
Yeah.
would those be able to be converted into a lamp post?
Maybe. It all depends on how you get the
Couldn't you just
electrical
do
to
some
it.
solar lighting of some sort? I mean, that seems like that's where.
Right.
It'd probably be
Big
more
mix.
solar.
Yeah, but I mean, we could, I mean, instead of inserting new posts. I mean-
Oh, gosh,
Oh, yeah.
no, we're not putting any more. posts
Right,
on
so I'm just thinking if we could either wire those somehow,
Yeah.
or, because, wait, are those, I can't remember, those in the water or are those on the
Yep.
land? Those are in the water? Okay, so, well,
we,
Yeah.
we might have to look into, you'd be the expert on this, adding lights on a dock or on the river.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's navigation or fish or just beauty of it. There might be some limitations
I
with,
remember you saying DNR
Especially
restrictions.
in the St. Croix Riverway.
yeah.
So if we have to put a couple of street lamps like we currently have along our walkways and everything else on the dike, we could do that above the seawall, which would illuminate down there and give some added lighting.
And we do have walking path light near the adjacent trail, right? And my hope is that ambient lighting is enough to kind of light up enough of the wharf. Obviously, like I said, we'll just kind of have to play it by ear, and
Yeah.
if we need to make adjustments, we will. Put a couple big floodlights down there.
Yeah, drawing lots of bugs.
Bugs and
Yeah, lots of bugs.
mayflies, right?
Yeah, the mosquitoes and carrying knives and switchblades. But I think it's functioning really well.
Yeah, it's great.
People are really using it, and you see them now, just this afternoon, rolling up their pants legs and
Yep,
Yep.
wilding out
going
there.
out there and fishermen on it, so it's a nice feature.
Yeah. If these rules, did you want to make a comment, Don, on the
Yeah.
rules real quick?
Just the rephrasing, no boat parking or tying to fishing platforms. And it's real clear. That way somebody just can't tie up. They say,
No boat parking.
just take one word out and add or tying to.
And we may want to look at, and I think we have until next meeting easily to make that decision, and that is, do we want to allow boat parking there over the 4th of July weekend? If we're already making the sailboat moorings all move out of the way,
No.
I don't think you
no
can.
parking.
and just on the day of the fireworks, then having no parking there, it's something you can think about and
Well, you're just gonna get the
consider.
sailboat guys pulling their boats over there,
Yeah,
that's all they're
but I
gonna.
mean, it's something that,
When is Booster Days this year?
Fireworks is Sunday.
Fireworks is
7th
7th,
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Always on Sunday.
so the 4th is the Thursday, okay.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7.
but I don't think we need to make that decision now in any way, but just to consider it. And
I don't think it's an unfair
Well, it's gonna be
thought.
completely filled up with people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be the heaviest weekend
Yeah.
use of the summer.
Right.
Yeah.
Not allow them to use it, that's,
You can't shut it down,
It's something we can consider and see how it goes. Leave it as it is and fix it for next year.
Yeah, see how,
Yep, see how it
Yeah,
goes.
some wheels are best left round.
Ain't broke yet, let's not fix
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
and it's not gonna be a true holiday weekend, well, I mean, it is for us a holiday weekend, but it's not like a long holiday, I guess it kind of, because the 4th is on a Thursday, so it's not really, it's to see how busy it gets on a non-weekend, I don't know, I mean, it's a holiday weekend regardless, but to see what kind of what it looks like.
All right, so for that, project updates
you wanna make a motion on the
on the rules,
rules, please?
So move.
Second.
moved and seconded. Any further discussion on it? Chair will call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Now we can go to project updates.
Nothing listed. However, having said that, I will say that all the restrooms are open except for Williams Park. Basically, got a schedule. They are looking to come in starting next week and doing demolition on the existing structure. And then obviously building it from there. And they're actually talking about having that completed by the end of July.
Well,
Wow.
So we would get it up and running for basically the fall. And we have porta potties up there because I know it's going to be used by a lot of the EP Rock Elementary students over the next couple of weeks. So there is a spot for families to still use the restrooms, as much as I hate using porta potties for that, but it is what it is at this point. Obviously, parks are being utilized, baseball full swing, softball full swing. Seasonal help will be starting here in a couple weeks yet. So full-time staff is having to kind of peel off of their normal duties and just kind of keep the train going down the track and getting the lawn cut now that it's growing quite rapidly. So yeah, it's kind of just all hands on deck right now for the next couple weeks until all the seasonals get here and take over those responsibilities. So that's all I got.
only thing I'd add to that is there's, I'm sorry for my voice, but there's been several food trucks up at the Fleet Farm parking lot the last few days. And I've had people asking, why don't we have food trucks or allow food trucks down in Lakefront Park? And the rationale that we've always used in the past was that they're picking the pockets of the restaurants who are already here. They're the ones who pay taxes all year, who are hiring people all year. And if one of them wanted to have one, that would be a separate issue to be looked at. But in general, someone coming in with a food truck, that's why we've always shied away from it. And our agreement with the concessionaire at the bathhouse has the ability to have a cart to go out to the end of the dike and sell from. So part of this is being said for the general public who's looking on and seeing this as to why we don't do that, and probably won't, at least for the near future.
Agree with that.
I don't have anything else. Does anyone else for future business?
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Matt.
All right.